Beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website. Open an online store. Build your brand. You can even connect a domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy Customer Support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a .com domain for the special price of $2.99 for the first year, right now at GoDaddy.com.
This is not a natural disaster.
Right.
This is not a mistake.
It's a man-made disaster.
And we need to start using the proper words when we talk about this. 10 people have been killed in Flint. 10 people were killed here because of a political decision.
That's right.
To save money.
That's right.
And put at lives.
That's
The risk the lives of people here in a city
That's right.
that is majority African American, where 41% live below the official poverty line.
That was Michael Moore in his hometown of Flint 11 days ago. Here is Michigan Governor Rick Snyder in Flint today.
Their goal is to get the water coming out of the tap safe as soon as possible. Let's take care of the people of Flint about making sure they short-term have bottled water, filters, everything else they need, and then how do we get good water coming out of the tap, and then how do we rebuild the community?
The governor was a no-show at Rachel Maddow's town hall tonight in Flint.
We asked Governor Rick Snyder himself multiple times if he would please come tonight to this town hall and talk with the residents of Flint. He never said no. He never said anything.
Joining us now, Michael Moore, Flint hometown boy. Michael, big surprise, the governor didn't come to the town meeting tonight.
Certainly not to Rachel's, because she's been all over this for months, long before any of the other national media came to Flint. Rachel was there, and I know everybody in Flint tonight was very happy and proud to have her there.
You have said, you've made this point, and what I like about it, there's an echo to what Harry Shearer kept saying for years about Katrina. It was not a natural disaster.
Right.
This was a man-made disaster.
Correct.
By inadequate structures and designs by the Army Corps of Engineers in New Orleans. We didn't have to have that flooding. And this was, there was nothing, everything about this, everything about it was man-made.
That's correct. It was man-made by a governor who belongs to a political party whose philosophy has been, since Ronald Reagan was elected in 1980, that they believe that less government is better, and the trickle-down economic theory, the philosophy that says that, you know, we only really have to listen to the 1% who put us into office. So if you live in a city where over 40% of the people live below the official poverty line, where 60% of the city is African American,
yeah,
we don't need, so what?
Yeah,
that's really the attitude, and everybody in Flint knows this. They've been complaining about this for almost 2 years. As soon as the water started coming out of the taps in April of 2014, the rashes, the sores, the smell, everything told you something was seriously wrong here. And they would put it in the bottles of water and take it, you know, down to Lansing, because there was no government in Flint. You understand that? The so-called emergency manager thing, which you guys have covered very well, that's just an Orwellian term, emergency manager. What happened was that the governor took over, fired the elected officials, the mayor and the city council.
When there was no emergency at all.
When there was no emergency. When there was no, if anything, there's been, the emergency was like back around 1982 when General Motors started closing factories and moving them to third world countries. That's when somebody should have sounded the emergency whistle. But no, he took them over and basically installed his crony. Essentially, Flint has operated under a dictator now for these many years, where the people have no say, and the dictator said to the governor, you know what, I can save you $15 million if we just take the water, make them drink it out of the Flint River. And the governor's people are like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then there's like one voice in the room, and he goes, you know, it might be a little dangerous if we just put this one chemical in the water. It's safe. It's a safe chemical to drink. It'll seal the lead in the pipes so that it won't leach into the water. And somebody in the room goes, how much that's going to cost? And the guy goes, $100 a day for 3 months. That's too damn much money. We're here to save money because, you see, Governor Snyder had just cut $1 billion worth of taxes for the rich in Michigan, for the corporations in Michigan. So it's like he's now looking for ways to cut services and costs. And one of the ways they thought of cutting was to stop having people in Flint drink from Lake Huron, which is a glacial lake formed 10,000 years ago in the last ice age, as pure as a lake could be these days. Stop drinking that water and start drinking from the Flint River. Do you have to be from Flint to understand when you hear the words Flint River?
I get it.
Yeah. Does anybody, like, why, if I say that Flint...
As soon as I heard there was a river in Flint, it was all...
If I said right now that the governor of New York has just instructed that the citizens of New York shall now drink from the Gowanus Canal.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to be here to know what that means. Not a good idea. And nobody listened. And right away, right from the beginning, he was told, something's not right here. And he just turned his head the other way. It was just, I went to this 100th birthday celebration of Arthur Miller the other night here in town. Yeah. And they read from his plays. And all my sons, the story of a factory owner who was making parts at World War II for the airplanes. And he sees that on a crate, some of the parts are cracked. And he convinces himself, that's probably okay. Just a little crack. And then, of course, first plane comes down, kills 23 soldiers. And now the cover-up begins. The rationalization begins. This governor, man, I'll tell you, this not only they were calling for his resignation because they were being polite because Rachel was there, but we want him arrested. We want the Attorney General in D.C. to come in and investigate and prosecute this individual. You know, it'd be one thing if he's just dumb and he didn't know. But they knew.
You live in a country where you can get arrested for driving recklessly without having injured anyone. Just by driving recklessly, doing something that's potentially dangerous can get you arrested.
Yes, even if it wasn't, quote, your fault.
Right.
You know, because you weren't paying attention. If you ran a 4-year-old over, if your car goes up over the curb and kills a 4-year-old, you more than likely are going to have to go to jail because you were reckless.
There will be liability.
You can't say, I didn't plan to do it. I didn't intend to do it. Well, that's just too bad because you've killed a 4-year-old. You know, but this is far worse because they knew in trying to save money, in trying to cut costs, while they were cutting taxes for the rich. This is what's so evil about this. This is what has got people so infuriated in Flint. And frankly, people have had it. They don't want to, you know, I wrote this thing today on my website about, you know, stop sending bottles of water. This is not what, there's 100,000 people. The Detroit Lions delivered 100,000 bottles of water on Friday. It was a beautiful gesture, but that's 1 bottle per person. That's enough to brush your teeth with today. No amount of bottled water is going to save this situation. And when people say to me, what can I do to help? My honest answer is, you can't help. You can't help because the irreversible brain damage has already occurred. These kids are ruined for life. There's no medicine, there's nothing that can turn that brain damage back. This has happened, and it was done knowingly. It was done knowing that they were drinking lead-filled water, at least since last February. They've known that. And it's you know, I wish there was like, we could put up like your KIND program, an 800 thing or a website you could go to. But these children have been ruined. Now we can stop further ruining of other children and making it worse for them. But as of today, as NBC reported, not one lead pipe has been removed. Not one has been changed out for something safe. This has been going on now since he's announced it in October, since he declared his emergency, what, 3 weeks ago? Not one pipe removed and replaced. I'm telling you, this guy has no intention of doing anything. He has hired a crisis management PR firm from New York City, and that's why you're starting to see him make the rounds. Not on this network.
Right, he won't be on this show.
I'm sure he's been told not to come here.
No, we've invited him.
But he's made his rounds, and he is trying to PR this thing, but it's not going to work. When he says that there's well, 100 children have tested. Well, like Rachel said, remember the testing for lead only works for 48 hours. You can detect some traces maybe for 28 days, but it's only what lead they took in the last 48 hours. So if you're testing kids now who drank the water for 8 months, say, that damage has already been done, and it's left their bloodstream. It went into their brains, damaged the brain, left the body. That's it. You can't really test adequately for this. So anytime, I'm just saying to anybody listening to this, if they hear the governor make these statements, you must abide by the old Eye of Stone, this muckraking journalist who said, everything said by governments should not be believed. They should have to prove that they're telling the truth. You start with the assumption you're being lied to. And then maybe they're not lying, but make them prove what they're saying. And this guy, absolutely. But hopefully, my goal is to have him arrested. I want him arrested, and I want him put away for what he's done. I'm sorry to be so harsh.
No, I understand your feelings.
But I'm just, my town has gone through so much over these last 30 years with what they've done to the factories, the Wall Street, and now this. And now everybody's home is worthless now. Yeah. Who can sell their home in Flint? Yeah. The value of their homes, small as it was, is now zero.
Complete collapse of the small wealth that they had. Michael, we'll take a break here. We'll be right back with more with Michael Moore.
We're talking politics.
There has never been quite a field like this one.
I've been a poor man and I've been a king. I've had my life and the world on a string. I've traveled many roads, but I'm so far from done. Good to know there's so much to live for.
Hey, pal. You ready? Can you pick me up at 6:30?
I'm here.
Too late.
I'll go for 5 minutes. Move it. Killing me. You know what, Dad? I'm good.
It may be quite a while before he's ready, but our Subaru Legacy will be waiting for him.
The longest-lasting midsize sedan in its class. The 2016 Subaru Legacy. It's not just a sedan, it's a Subaru.
Every insurance policy has a number, but not every insurance company understands the life behind it. For those who've served and the families who've supported them, we offer our best service in return. USAA, we know what it means to serve. Get an insurance quote and see why 92% of our members plan to stay for life.
The Microsoft Cloud allows us to access information from anywhere.
The Microsoft Cloud allows us to scale up.
Microsoft Cloud changes our world dramatically.
It wasn't too long ago, it would take 2 weeks to sequence and analyze a genome. Now, we can do 100 per day.
With the Microsoft Cloud, we don't have to build server rooms. We have instant scale.
The Microsoft Cloud is helping us to rebuild and reinterpret our business.
This cloud helps transform business. This is the Microsoft Cloud.
These are the hands that drive commerce, that build business across borders. These are the hands of Pitney Bowes, the craftsman of commerce. These are the hands that sow the seeds of business growth, that weave the data and find the perfect spot to thrive. These are the hands of Pitney Bowes, the craftsman of commerce.
You said last week over 100 children here in Flint have high levels of lead in their blood. How many kids is it as we sit here today?
It's about 100 and some if you go back over the last couple of years.
Okay. You're saying there's 100 children as of now. There may be many, many more.
There could be many more, and we're assuming that.
He's assuming that, he says.
Yeah, I'm sorry to use such harsh language. I hope they won't bleep me here, but that's a lie. He's just lying. The doctors, the scientists, everybody who's there, who's been studying this, there are 9,000 children 6 years old and under in Flint. These are the people whose brains are most pliable in terms of being damaged by lead. 9,000 children. All 9,000 have been exposed to this. 9,000 have been exposed. That 100 may have been like on one day. That means in the last 48 hours, lead passed through their body. But they didn't test all 9,000 children that day. And it's just a number the PR people gave them to say. So the people, just like he said 2 weeks ago when he said the National Guard, you know, he was sending in the National Guard. Remember that?
Yeah.
You know how many he sent in? 7. There were 7 on that Wednesday. 7 National Guard showed up, and he only activated 7 from the city of Flint. 7 guard from the city of Flint to hand out some water bottles. They're, in other words, 7 who were already poisoned themselves. This guy, I'm telling you, this is all 9,000 children of 6 and under have been exposed to this. All 100,000 people in the
and the adults.
And the adults.
I mean, we're
Absolutely.
stressing children because children are much more vulnerable as they are in their physiology.
And their innocence, because the adults get to have a say who the governor is.
Yeah.
You know, the kids have no say who made this decision. Now, obviously, the people of Flint did not vote for this governor. He knows that. That's why he didn't do anything, in part, about this. But, you know, I think the one thing that got made on Rachel's show there, a good point that got made is that there is a surplus this year of $600 million and a rainy day fund of another $600 million. And I think the people of Michigan who voted for this man twice, my fellow Michiganders, I think that that money has to come from the state to fix the problem at the state.
What do you think the feeling is in the rest of the state? I mean, Flint, for people who live at great distances from Flint, is this? Do you believe the state is now surging in sympathy for Flint, or do they think, that's over there, that's got nothing to do with us?
I think the majority of people are very sympathetic. Yeah. But it's kind of like, but the problem here is that nobody's done anything about this up until this point. It's as they said on her show, there's not a school nurse in each school in Flint. There's one school nurse for the whole school district. Yeah. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Yeah. One school nurse for an entire city. You wouldn't know that if the water thing hadn't happened. Right. But that was there before the water thing happened, right? When they say there's no grocery store in the city of Flint, that was that way before the water crisis. Mm-hmm. How many other Flints are there in this country that we don't know about? Because the media isn't covering it, because the people don't have a voice. Because if you're poor and black and you live in Flint or Saginaw or Pontiac or Detroit, black Michigan, you have no say in this. Your voice isn't heard, and they've been living this existence for 3 decades now. At the end of Roger and Me, that movie of mine about Flint comes out in 1989. Yeah. The very last line in the credits says, "You cannot watch this movie in the city of Flint because all the theaters have closed." There is still no movie theater inside the city of Flint. Yeah. But now, I thought back then that was just awful, that there was no movie theater. Right. We're at the point now where there are no grocery stores, no chain stores. You know, there's the little food markets, but that are really, you know, but that's not just Flint. I don't know if there's one in Detroit. I remember this story in Philly. Like, there's a whole half of Philly doesn't have a grocery store. This is going on. If the people are poor, if they can't buy candidates, and this is where the whole campaign finance thing comes into this too, is that when the people don't have a say and can't, and because they can't write checks, then they're forgotten. And I know we have just a few seconds here, but this Flint was forgotten. It's been forgotten for some time, only because children got poisoned by a decision that the governor made. Now do we know these other things? And I'm here to say it's not just Flint, Michigan. This is going on across this country. How we've turned this into versions of the parts of this country are like third world countries. And I know you brought me on to talk about my movie, and I don't want to talk about the movie tonight. I'll come back and talk. But one thing I learned while we filmed this across a dozen countries is that they don't do that to their own. You went looking in the film for better ideas of doing things in other countries than here. This is one of those glaring examples. It's a glaring example because in other countries, throughout history, people have always done things to diss on other people, right? Their enemy or whatever. Mm-hmm. But one thing societies don't do is do it to themselves and do it to their children, because in order to stay strong, you want a strong country, you have to be good to your people. We aren't good to our people. We'll let 29 million go without health care. Even after Obamacare, 29 million, no health care. I mean, why do we tolerate this? We're the richest country on earth. And that cover of Time magazine this week with the child, the black child on the cover, if you looked at it from a distance, you thought, oh, Time's doing a story on a third world country, and you get close and you see it's Flint, Michigan. You know, none of us should be happy about this. And if they can get away with it in Flint, they can get away with it anywhere. And everybody watching this tonight who lives in the Flint, Michigans of this country, you know it. They know it, Lawrence. And it's time for people to non-violently get involved, rise up, get involved in this election year. Don't sit and take it. It is our country still. It's the hope, what Rachel said at the end of the show. The hope is that it's still a democracy, even though we don't have democracy in Flint. The rest of you do. So don't leave us alone there. Don't forget the Flints of this country.
And Flint shows how precious that democracy
yes,
is.
and I'm sorry to take so much time.
Thank you very, very much for coming.
No, thank you for
really
having me.
Appreciate it.
It means a lot to everybody. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
You both have a perfect driving record.
Perfect.
No tickets, no accidents.
That is until one of you clips a food truck, ruining your perfect record.
Yeah.
Now, you would think your insurance company would cut you some slack, right?
No, your insurance rates go through the roof. Your perfect record doesn't get you anything.
Anything.
Perfect.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
It took dozens of prototypes, hundreds of crash simulations, thousands of hours of painstaking craftsmanship, and an infinite reserve of patience to create a vehicle that looks, drives, and thinks like nothing else on the road. The all-new GLC, the SUV the world has been waiting for, starting at $38,950.
How does rock and roll work? You need a team. Working together. Doing all kinds of jobs. And the best place to find the job that's right for you is on the world's #1 job site. Indeed, how the world works.
Before I had the shooting, burning, pins and needles of diabetic nerve pain, these feet were the first in my family to graduate from college. Raised active twin girls and trained as a nurse. But I couldn't bear my diabetic nerve pain any longer, so I talked to my doctor, and he prescribed Lyrica.
Nerve damage from diabetes causes diabetic nerve pain. Lyrica is FDA approved to treat this pain. Lyrica may cause serious allergic reactions or suicidal thoughts or actions. Tell your doctor right away if you have these, new or worsening depression, or unusual changes in mood or behavior, or swelling, trouble breathing, rash, hives, blisters, muscle pain with fever, tired feeling, or blurry vision. Common side effects are dizziness, sleepiness, weight gain, and swelling of hands, legs, and feet. Don't drink alcohol while taking Lyrica. Don't drive or use machinery until you know how Lyrica affects you. Those who have had a drug or alcohol problem may be more likely to misuse Lyrica.
Now I have less diabetic nerve pain, and I love helping little ones get off on the right foot.
Ask your doctor about Lyrica.
I've been called a control freak. I like to think of myself as more of a control enthusiast.
Perfect 177 degrees.
And that's why this road warrior rents from National. I can bypass the counter and go straight to my car. And I don't have to talk to any humans unless I want to. And I don't. And National lets me choose any car in the aisle. Control. And so, what's the word? Sexy.
Go National. Go like a pro.
Tomorrow, it's the final GOP debate before Iowa, and Chris Matthews is live with post-debate analysis. Tomorrow at 11 p.m. on MSNBC.
Yesterday at 4:30 p.m., the FBI and Oregon State and local law enforcement used a roadblock to stop 2 vehicles carrying Ammon Bundy and other armed militants who had taken over a nearby bird sanctuary. According to law enforcement, one of the vehicles, a pickup truck, tried to escape and then got stuck in the snow, and one man emerged from the truck, quote, brandishing a firearm, end quote. The man was shot and killed by law enforcement. Ammon Bundy and 7 others were arrested and charged with the federal felony of, quote, conspiracy to impede officers of the United States from discharging their official duties through the use of force, intimidation, or threats. The man who was killed was Lavoy Finicum. His daughter confirmed his death to NBC News. After an interview 22 days ago on this program, he became known as Tarp Man because in that strange interview he was sitting under a tarp with a rifle guarding his group. Lavoy Finicum then emerged as a spokesman for the Bundy Group. He was 55 years old. He said he left his Arizona ranch in the hands of his 17-year-old daughter. He was in another standoff with federal authorities 2 years ago in Nevada with Cliven Bundy, Ammon Bundy's father. Today, only after his friend Lavoy Finicum was killed and after he was taken into custody and charged, only then did Ammon Bundy, through his lawyer, urge all of the armed protesters still at the bird sanctuary to leave peacefully. Then, a little more than an hour ago, the Bundy family posted a notice from Ammon's wife on Facebook that read, "Ammon would not have called for the Patriots to leave. We have lost a life, but we are not backing down. He didn't spill his blood in vain. Hold your ground." That post was just deleted a few minutes ago. If you're in a YouTube video released today by the remaining protesters, it is clear that the spirit of Lavoy Finicum, unfortunately, lives on at the bird sanctuary.
Media's been ordered to leave. That means they're coming to kill us, and they don't want them to see that. They're going to murder all of us. American people better wake up, get here, and fight for your country. Right now, it is on.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when the militia comes after you, FBI?
If they stop you from getting here, kill them.
Lavoy Finicum never specifically said he would kill FBI agents or police officers if they came after him, but he came very, very close to saying that when he spoke to MSNBC's Tony DeCopel.
If they come here and try to arrest you, they point a gun at you, they try to put cuffs on you, how far are you willing to take this?
Well, don't point a gun at me. You don't point a gun at somebody unless you're going to shoot them. That's the first thing you're taught is, don't point guns at people. And so, I'm telling them right now, don't point guns at me.
So you're prepared to die, better dead than in a cell?
Absolutely. Dude, would you like to be in a cell? Nobody wants to live their life in a cell.